Assalamualaikum, my name is Nashawat Aminah Fisahlana. So we are given task to compare three ISO between ISO 9001, ISO 14001, ISO 45001. So I will compare it based on its definition. ISO 9001 is a quality management system which gives organization a systematic approach for meeting customer objectives. Besides, ISO 9001 also defined as the international standard that specifies requirements for a quality management system. ISO 14001 is an environmental management system which provides a system for measuring and improving the organization's environmental impact. So let's see ISO 45001. ISO 45001 is an occupational health and safety management system which provides a system for measuring and improving organizational health and safety impact. Next, I will compare the three ISO based on its scope. The scope of ISO 14001 is to create an EMS capable to identifying and controlling the environmental impacts of its activity, products and service, continually improving its environmental performance. It provides a framework that organization can follow rather than establishing environmental performance requirements. In ISO 9001, the organization can use the standard to demonstrate the ability to consistently provide product and service that meet customer and regulatory requirements. Lastly, the ISO 45001 is a standard that provides a framework for managing the prevention of work-related injury, health and death. The intention of this international standard is to improve and provide a safety and health workplace for workers and other persons who may be interacting with the organization.
Hi, my name is Nur Shahira. I will present the class 4.0, which is the context of organization for the three ISO, which are ISO 9001, 45001, and 14001. Here I will explain more detail about subclass 4.1, which is the understanding of organization and its context. Any organization is required to identify internal and external issues which could affect the organization and their management system ability to achieve the intended outcome of the management system. External issues of the organization that related to the 9001 can be legal, market, cultural, technological, social, or any issues related to the business from an external perspective, while internal issues are the value, knowledge, or performance of the business organization. In terms of ISO 45001, the relationship between external issues may be considered as social issues such as alcohol and drug, which may be used in the community surrounding your organization. So from that, you can draw your workers which could affect the health and safety in your site. The internal issues that you can identify could be all infrastructure that require costly maintenance. Lastly, the organization should determine the external issues such as climate, air pollution, and natural resources as ISO 14001 requirement. Among the internal issues that the organization should emphasize is workers from different races should be the most important thing. It's because some workers do not understand the instruction given to them, which can result in unfavorable outcome for the environment. That's all about the differences between the three ISO.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Nurul Fatih Hikimah. Today I will talk about the difference between ISO 9001, 14001 and 15001 based on clause 5 leadership. The comparison between these three ISO is between policy. In ISO 9001 quality policy, which is top management should establish and maintain a policy that provide a frame for setting quality objective that include a commitment to certify applicable requirement that include a commitment to continual improvement of the quality management system. Compared to ISO 14001 environmental policy, which is top management shall establish and maintain an environment policy that within the defined scope of its environmental system that provide a frame for setting environment objective that include a commitment to the protection the environment, including prevention of pollution, protection of biodiversity and ecosystem that include a commitment to fulfill its compliance. Meanwhile, for ISO 14001 OH&S policy, which is top management shall establish and maintain an OH&S policy that provide a frame for setting OH&S objective that include a commitment to fulfill legal requirement and other requirement that include a commitment to eliminate hazard and reduce OH&S risk.
Hello, my name is Yuna Jeremy. Today I would like to present about task 9.0 that above planning. First we go through above the actions to address the risk and opportunity. For ISO 14001, this ISO to edifications and evaluation of significant environmental aspects, especially in the planning phase. For example, for this risk and opportunity is threat of increasing energy price due to carbon emissions and organization of energies efficiently measure. Example for the risk and opportunity are threat of increasing energy price due to carbon emissions. Second, organization on energy efficiently measure which cut production costs. Next, ISO 45001. It related to operation of the OH&S, which occupational health and safety management system that can affect the achievement of the intended outcome. OH&S opportunity address the identification of the hazard and how they communicate, and the analysis and migration of non-hazard. For example, identification of the hazard and introductions of the safety analysis and task-related assessment to the employer. Next, ISO 9001 is to establish an end-to-end process for risk management and then to execute that process consistently, carefully, and widely. Second, we go through above objective and planning to achieve. ISO 14001. The objective of the ISO is to ensure the organization has the building blocks to determine that they can achieve its intended outcomes, since the inclusion of specific requirements around risk identification and analysis. ISO around 5 key areas, which is leadership, strategic context, interested party analysis and communication, risk and opportunity, and life cycle perspective. Another objective for this ISO is help translate purpose into actions and to facilitate the integration of environmental management with other business management process. ISO 45001 OH&S objective and planning. Planning is an integral part of element of an OH&S management system. This planning can be more effective when it concurred with prioritization by identifying, eliminations, and controlling hazard and risk. Planning for the OH&S management system is an ongoing process to determine the risks that can affect the OH&S performance of the organizations, and to identify opportunity to improve OH&S performance and the OH&S management system. And the last for ISO 9001, it above quality, objective and planning to achieve. Okay, quality objective should be measurable, consistent with the quality policy and relevant to product and service conformity. The objective ISO is determining the works required in order for organizations to realize its objective for evidence that effective planning. Second, to determine how it will evaluate the works done. The objective and planning can be achieved through ensure that this planning activity was taken, for example, to identification of the process, resource and skills. Second, the action plan must be implemented, and the last, monitoring and revising to reflect change for our organization targets.
I am Nur Afika and I'm going to present about Clause 7. Clause 7.0 discuss about support. Support consists of resources, competence, awareness, communication, and documenting information. 7.1, which is resources. Organization should determine and provide the resources needed for the establishment, implementation, maintenance, and continual improvement of the management system. Resources are essential for the effective working and improvement of the management system. Resources can include human resources, which is those with specialized skills and knowledge, natural resources, infrastructure, technologies, and financial resources. Next, we move with 7.2, which is competence. Organization should establish a process for assessing existing staff competence against changing business needs and prevailing trends. The organization must ensure that this person are qualified on the basis of education, training, and experience in regards to the management system performance. 7.3, which is awareness. The organization must ensure that the person doing work under the organization control are aware what is affect conformity of management system. The organization should ensure that the people are aware of 5 parts, which is the quality, environmental, of health and safety policies. Second is relevant qualities of environmental, health and safety objective. The third one is the contribution of effectiveness of management system, benefits of improved performance, and the last one is the implication of not conforming to management system requirement. Next, we move to 7.4, which is communication. Organization needs to develop and implement a communication strategy to determine which matters to communicate whilst taking into account its compliance obligation and the quality, reliability and consistency of the communicated information. This clause refers to all type of communication, whether that is internal or external. This communication include when to communicate, who the organization should communicate with, and how to communicate. The last one in clause 7 is 7.5, which is documenting information. The organization is required to include documented information determined by International Organization of Standardization and is also required to provide documents that have been determined by the organization as necessary for the effectiveness of the management system. Documented information serves several purposes. One is it makes critical information available to external parties, stakeholders, and shareholders. Second is allow to organization to continually review and improve the scope of management system. And the last one is allow to register to audit the management system and measure its performance.
Next, I will compare the 3 ISO based on its operational planning. So what is operational? Based on ISO 9001, operational are the process needed to create the product and service of the organization. It is to identify the requirement of the product and service needs to meet through creation and delivery. Based on ISO Based on ISO 14001, operational are linked to any process in the organization that have interaction with the environment and need to control in place. So lastly, based on ISO 45001, operational are linked to any process in the organization that have hazard for workers and need to be controlled in place. It also include emergency response plans.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Nur Nadia binti Awang. I will continue our presentation with the performance evaluation. First of all, we look in monitoring, measurement, analysis, and evaluation. In general, ISO 9001, the organization shall retain appropriate documented information as evidence of the results, while the ISO 14001, the organization shall evaluate its environmental performance and the effectiveness of the environmental management system. Okay, ISO 45001, the organization shall ensure that monitoring and measuring equipment is calibrated or verified as applicable and is used and maintained as appropriate. Okay, we look to the customer satisfaction. The organization shall monitor customers' perceptions of the degree to which their needs and expectations have been fulfilled. While the ISO 14001, the organization shall establish, implement, and maintain two processes needed to evaluate fulfillment of its compliance obligations. Okay, for the ISO 45001, the organization shall establish, implement, and maintain processes for evaluating and compliance with legal requirement and other requirements. Okay, we continue with the internal audits. In general, ISO 9001, the organization shall conduct internal audits at planned intervals to provide information on whether the quality management system, while the ISO 14001, the organization shall conduct internal audits at planned intervals to provide information on whether the environment management system. Okay, for the ISO 45001, the organization shall conduct internal audits at planned intervals to provide information on whether the OH&S management system. Okay, we move to the management review. In general, ISO 9001, top management shall review the organization's quality management system at planned intervals to ensure its continuous suitability, adequacy, effectiveness, and alignment with the strategic direction of the organization. For the ISO 14001, top management shall review the organization's environment management system at planned intervals to ensure its continuing suitability, adequacy, and effectiveness. For the ISO 45001, top management shall review the organization OH&S management system at planned intervals to ensure its continuous suitability, adequacy, and effectiveness. Okay, we move to the management review input. In ISO 9001, the management review shall be planned and carried out, taking into consideration of change in external and internal issues that are relevant to the quality management system. For the ISO 14001, the management review shall include consideration of change in internal and external issues that are relevant to the environment management system. For the ISO 45001, the management review shall include consideration of change in external and internal issues that are relevant to the OH&S management system. Okay, now we move to the management review output. In ISO 9001, the outputs of management review shall include decisions and action related to any needs for change to the quality management system. While the ISO 14001, the outputs of management review shall include decisions related to any need for change to the environment management system. For the ISO 45001, the outputs of management review shall include decisions related to any need for change to the OH&S management system.
Hi, my name is Salma Farwiza, and I will talk about improvement. For 10.1 General, for ISO 14001, the organization shall determine opportunities for improvement and implement necessary action to achieve the intended outcomes of its environmental management system. We move to General ISO 9001. The organization shall determine opportunities for improvement and implement necessary action in order to meet customer satisfaction. This include improving product and services, correcting, preventing, or reducing undesired effect, and improving the performance and effectiveness of the quality management system. Lastly, for ISO 45001, the organization shall determine opportunities for improvement and implement necessary action to achieve the intended outcomes of its OSH management system. Now we will take a look to 10.2 non-conformity and corrective action. When a non-conformity occurs in ISO 40001, the organization shall react to non-conformity and applicable to take action to control it and correct it, and also deal with the consequences. Next, evaluate the need for action to eliminate the cause or causes of the non-conformity by review the non-conformity, determine the causes, and determine if similar non-conformities exist. Then, implement any action needed and review the effectiveness of any corrective action taken. For corrective action, it is appropriate to the significance of the effects of the non-conformities, including the environmental impacts. We move to ISO 45001. The organization should establish, implement, and maintain the processes including reporting, investigating, and taking action to determine and manage incidents. When an incident occurs or a non-conformity occurs, the organization should react to the non-conformity, evaluate with the participation of workers and the involvement of others. The need for corrective action to eliminate the root causes of the non-conformity by investigating the incident or review the non-conformity, determine the causes, and also determine if similar incident has occurred. ISO 9001. When a non-conformity occurs, including any arising from complaints, the organization should react to the non-conformity by take action and deal with the consequences. Evaluate the need for action to eliminate the causes by review and analyze the non-conformity. Then, the organization should implement any action needed, review the effectiveness, update risks and opportunities, and also make change to the quality management system if necessary. The corrective action should appropriate to the effects of the non-conformities encountered. Last, for improvement, 10.3 is continual improvement. For ISO 14001, the organization should continually improve the suitability and effectiveness of their environmental management system to enhance their environmental performance. For ISO 9001, the organization shall consider the result of analysis and evaluate the output for management and review to determine whether there are needs shall be addressed as part of continual improvement. Last but not least, ISO 45001. The organization shall continually improve by enhanced OSH performance by promoting the participation of workers